light switch and glanced around. The place had an open floor plan, living room, dining room, and kitchen. It wasn't as rustic as he was expecting, and he was kind of disappointed. A stone fireplace on one wall with floor-to-ceiling windows along both sides were the best part of the place. The furniture was sturdy and basic. Brown leather couch, 2 leather recliners, TV and coffee table in the living room, and a dinette with 4 chairs next to the kitchen. Deciding to unpack in the morning, he left the suitcase and, taking his carry-on, headed down the hall. The first room he came to was a bathroom, and he made a pit stop, then checked out the next one. The bedroom had twin beds, a dresser, 1 chair, and a TV mounted on the wall. He continued on to see if there was a room with a bigger bed. He'd taken 2 steps into the next room and was reaching for a light switch when something came at him. Instinctively, he dropped his carry-on and put a hand up, wrapping his fingers around what felt like the rough bark of a tree branch. He pulled it to him, bringing his attacker with it, and found himself with an arm full of enraged wildcat in possession of a woman's body. She went for his eyes, and he grabbed her wrists, gentling his hold so that he didn't bruise her. When she tried to knee him, he flipped her around and wrapped his arms around her back to his chest. "I'm rather fond of that part of me, sugar." Robert's people had found her, and this was the day she was going to die. Rachel Denning refused to make it easy on Robert Hargrove's man, though. She stomped on his foot, but because she was barefoot and he wore boots, that was about as effective as slapping his face with a feather. A fight scene from a previous movie where the villain had her in a similar hold flashed through her mind. In the scene, she'd gotten away by slamming the back of her head into his nose. The problem with that scenario was that this man was a good head taller than her, so no way she could reach his nose. His chin, maybe, but it was worth a try. Better than doing nothing. She leaned her head forward, then slammed it back as hard as she could, taking satisfaction when he grunted. Unfortunately, the stunt worked better in the movie. "Easy, wildcat. I'm not going to hurt you." Yeah, right. And unicorns existed. "Let go of me." He wouldn't. She knew asking was futile, but it was all she had. He was stronger than she was, and had her in a hold she couldn't escape. Keeping one arm around her, he reached for the light switch, and she blinked against the sudden brightness. Then he lifted her right off her feet as if she weighed less than a bag of potatoes, carried her to the bed, and dropped her. Face down on the rumpled cover, she waited for the blow, or whatever he planned to do to her. Oh, God, what if he raped her? No, she wasn't going to wait around to find out what he planned to do. She flipped to her back, searching for a weapon. When she'd arrived at the cabin, she'd gone out and found a tree branch, wanting something handy to protect herself if she had to. She should have brought the whole damn tree in. She had a knife from the kitchen under her pillow. She hadn't started with that because she'd thought she would have a better chance with the branch. Her plan had been simple. Bash him upside the head, and when he was out cold, disappear. If she could get to the knife, maybe she could hurt him enough to escape. Keeping her attention on the man, she inched her hand toward the pillow. His gaze followed her hand before shifting back to her. "You got a weapon under there? Go ahead. See if you can get to it before I have you in my arms again. Been a while since I've had this much fun." His smirk faded as his eyes held hers. "I meant what I said. I'm not going to hurt you." He chuckled. "Even though you did try to bash me in the head." Something wasn't right. The man wasn't acting like a killer. The men who worked for Robert were as cruel as he was. They didn't tease, and if they called her anything besides her name, it would be bitch. They especially didn't smile as if they really were having fun. If he was one of Robert's men, he would just kill her and be done with it. Now that she could study this man, he was gorgeous in a rough, bad boy kind of way. A trimmed beard, more like a few days of scruff, really, covered his face. A fresh scar ran from the corner of his right eye and down his cheek before disappearing into his beard. She almost cringed at seeing how close he'd come to losing an eye. No, she wasn't giving him her sympathy, not when he was here to hurt her. Yet his eyes weren't mean or cold.